Stop asking why you can't hear God when your life is still full of the very noise that drowns him out. Because the truth is, if you want to hear God clearly, you have to stop doing the things that secretly block his voice. And the first one is this: stop entertaining sin you've already been convicted of. You cannot walk in the Spirit while dancing with the devil on weekends and yet expect divine direction Monday morning. James 1:8 calls it double-mindedness and says a double-minded person is unstable in all their ways. You already know that habit is toxic, that relationship pulls you further from God, and yet you keep it close because it's familiar, even when it's killing your discernment. God speaks in stillness, not in chaos. 1 Kings 19 shows us that Elijah didn't hear God in the fire, wind, or earthquake, but in a whisper. And some of you haven't heard a whisper from heaven in months because your mind is louder than your spirit. Here's the second thing: stop needing constant confirmation for what you already know God said. You delay obedience hoping God will change his answer, but delayed obedience is disobedience, period. You pray for clarity, but what you really want is comfort. When God told Abraham to go in Genesis 12, he gave no map, no detailed plan, just a direction. Go to the land I will show you. And Abraham heard because he obeyed without needing a second opinion. Some of you are addicted to spiritual noise, YouTube prophets, endless devotionals, random verses. But your ears are dull because you haven't trained your spirit to recognize God's voice in the quiet. That's why the third block is so subtle but deadly. Stop complaining more than you pray. Philippians 2:14 says to do everything without grumbling or arguing, yet your prayer life is often just a complaint session wrapped in spiritual language. You don't ask God to change you, you ask him to fix everything around you. But Jesus said in John 10:27, "My sheep hear my voice, and sheep that are constantly agitated can't rest long enough to listen." God isn't hiding, but your heart is too loud, too bitter, too self-centered to notice him standing right there. Fourth, stop holding on to unforgiveness and expecting revelation. You cannot carry the weight of resentment and expect the flow of divine wisdom. Mark 11:25 warns that when you stand praying, if you hold anything against anyone, forgive them, so that your Father in heaven may forgive you. That blockage in your heart is silencing heaven's response. Bitterness builds a wall where there should be a bridge, and the Holy Spirit doesn't shout over the walls you built yourself. You say you want clarity, but clarity requires clean hands and a pure heart. Psalm 24:4. And lastly, stop acting like you don't have time to sit in silence with God. You binge noise, music, reels, podcasts, shows, but can't give God 10 quiet minutes without reaching for your phone. Jesus often withdrew to lonely places and prayed, Luke 5:16, not because he had nothing to do, but because intimacy with the Father mattered more than constant motion. Some of you are spiritually starved, not because God isn't speaking, but because you've forgotten how to be still and know that he is God. Psalm 46:10. You want instant downloads, but God isn't Google. He wants relationship, not just results. So if you're tired of guessing, tired of wondering, tired of praying and wondering if anyone's listening, then start cutting out the noise, the distractions, the habits, the excuses, and watch how fast your ears begin to hear again. God still speaks. The real question is, have you stopped doing what keeps you deaf?